Alrighty, folks, I want to welcome you back to Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. I will call this the next step, year 2 of Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. I want to thank everybody who's been watching. Want to introduce a new style of showing people how to work on computers, how to do things. Don't want to just do the simple talk, show you a switch, show you ports, blah 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 blah. Now I'm getting into the OS. Covered a lot of operating system things before. Got a lot of videos. Covered a lot of security, a lot of placement, a lot of other things, usernames, security, passwords, firewall, switches, routers, wireless, wired. A lot of these things I've already covered. Go back and look at all those videos, because those are all things that you need to do before you get to installing, before you get to upgrading, before you go out and buy that laptop, put it on your shared network, put it on your Wi-Fi network, whatever you need to do. And then you get to this point. You get logged in. And you get handed all the Microsoft forced junk software. So I wanted to show a couple things. There's a few things I've found lately that I thought were interesting. So basically, if you right click down here on the bottom, you get a little pop-up box. There's a search. That's this box here. I find that fairly annoying. I don't know about everybody else, but I don't really need that on my desktop. On here you can hide it, show it as an icon. You can change things around. There's the other buttons here. You can take those off. You can hide it. You can get rid of it. Microsoft Store. There's an email feature. You can unpin it. Click on it. Right click on it. Go to unpin. It goes away. I hope everybody can see this. If not, you might have to go to a bigger screen. But this is the development I wanted to try for the new year. I'll post it, I'll watch it myself, and I'll review it. See if I like the content or not. I might change the structure of content. But I wanted to show these important facts. Wanted to show you how easy it is. I'm not doing a bunch of key commands, and if I am, you will see it. Go down to the little window symbol down here on the bottom. Look at all these nice tile boxes of stuff, Of course, here they want you to go to Office and download their Office and install their Office and pay for their Office and get their Office 316. You don't need any of that. If it's annoying, right click on it. This is what I usually do on all the users. Each user you have to do this on. Not each computer. That's Microsoft again. When I set up the admin account and do this, it should actually roll over to all your accounts, but they won't do it. But you can go to unpin from startup, because this is your startup screen. These are all other things that it wants to install and update. It'll install these little boxes. And if you move your mouse right to the side, you'll see the two little arrows. left click on it, drag it over. Hey, look, that looks like the old-fashioned Windows 7 box. Again, back to my pet peeve. Thanks a lot for forcing stuff on us that you don't allow us to choose what we want. So you have to go in and do this, so that you can have the clean look. So if you have icons or you have something else back here, your Word documents or something that you need to go to back and forth, maybe you have multiple screens. You don't want all this gobbly-gob of stuff on your screen. Go down to the gear. It says settings. You want to click on that. There's some big things on here. One of the big ones that I don't like, that we found we were running into a lot of issues, is when you go to Windows Update. Go to Advanced. I have all this stuff turned off. Now, on here, it has receive other Microsoft products when you update. That one you probably want on, because that will pull your Office updates, that'll pull other updates that you want. But then you go down here, scroll down, it has delivery options. You want to right click on that. Down here, it has this really kind of scary thing that I thought was really scary to me. Allow downloads from other PCs. Gives you a box if you want it on or off. Gives you PCs on your local network. Gives you PCs on your local network and PCs on the internet. To me, both of these are very, very risky. Because if you're on your Wi-Fi network, you have a guest that comes over, you have someone that comes over that does work at your house to work on something that gets on your Wi-Fi, guess what? They are now on your local network. Is their computer safe, clean, and everything else? Got a lot of security videos that talk about a lot of this. So, other thing is this is always communicating. This is always talking out under the network. It'll slow down your network. We ran into that issue in a couple places. So, this is one of the things I always tell people to turn off. Especially if you're in a business environment where there's a server and you got computers communicating to a server, and you don't have the budget to get a gigabit switch. You might have a 10100, might have an older switch. Guess what? This is going to use your bandwidth. So you want to turn that off. I don't know if anybody can see the screen or not, but we're walking everybody through it anyways. So, these are some of the points I wanted to bring up. This is important stuff because of that fact. That if you don't turn that off, to me, that's a huge security concern. Because you already need to make sure you have a lot of security done for that option to be a good option. If you're a home user, small business user, even a big business user, turn that off. Because you want to download the current, more recent, maybe you have a computer that pulled a bad update and it's corrupted, and that computer's having issues, and then your computer pulls that update from them and installs it. I've run into many problems with corrupted updates on a computer. So wanted to point that factor out. I turn that off. Hit the arrow in the top corner to go back. Go back to the basic settings screen. When you hit the gear, it comes up with the settings screen. On the settings screens, down on the bottom, of course you have privacy. This is one of the things that bothers me the most. If you can't really see this, you can go online, Google it. I might do some other things to see what I could show you. But all these silly things are on. Take your Advising ID and make ads interesting to you. Of course not. No. I turn all this off. Speech, online speech. You know, some of these things you might want, you could go back in and turn them back on. Once you get into using the computer and you know what you want to do. Laptops and stuff, a lot of these things like phones, you could speak into them and they type for you. You might need some of these features. This is where you could turn them back on. But on here, there's all kinds of things. Diagnostic stuff, you know, do you want to improve this? Do you want to improve that? No, no, no. The really big one that people have brought up is your activity history. Jump back into what you're doing on your device, doing your activity history, blah, 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 blah. Do you want this to store your activity history on your device? And there's a box in here. Send activity history to Microsoft. Ooh. Be careful. Make sure that doesn't get checked. I turn it off because I don't want it to store any junk on my system. But there's all kinds of things on here. It wants to control your microphone. What do you want to have access to your microphone? What do you want? Your camera. Notifications. Account information. Contacts. Your calendar. It even has a category on here that says cell phone. Or not cell phone, but it says phone calls. Your email, your tasks, messaging, radios. The big one, if you have an older computer, is this one, background apps. This is the number one I have to turn off on a lot of older computers because it's trying to run so much junk in the background. 3D viewer, alarm clock, calculator, camera. What else is there? Feedback hub, Microsoft Solitaire. As a business person, you don't want people sitting there playing solitaire. OS puts it in there. Not to mention, I've seen it where it was putting in other games. The earlier edition was putting in games. Office. Not the Office you installed. The Office they want you to go and pay for and run and buy. Not what you put in. Skype. Nowadays, a lot of people are probably using it. If you have policies and procedures and stuff where you don't allow people to do that in certain parts, like accounting and other financial spots, vaults and cages and other places that, you know, drawing positions or, you know, some kind of promotion or something of that sort, where they shouldn't really even have access to a camera, but maybe they have a laptop because they don't have a computer, and a lot of laptops have a camera in them. You want to make sure you take that out and turn that off. Tips. How many people need tips running? How many times do you actually look up tips on your computer so it can tell you how to do things? Kind of like a help feature. Oh, I got it running. Weather. How many people actually use your OS weather? In the newest version of the update, it's down here on the bottom. It has a box that pops up. You right click on that box. It'll give you in that menu to turn that off too, to hide that. Xbox game bar. Now, game bar is different. Game bar is a little different. Game bar, I did find something. If you have a newer computer, you might want to use. It has screen capture features. It has other things in there that might be helpful. Not only for gamers, media creation, businesses, anybody else that maybe you want to go through a presentation and you want to screen capture it and you want to do where you're showing a presentation and you're showing your slides or you're adding on to that, you can do a screen capture. There's some other little features in that, but is every user going to need that? I turn all this stuff off. It saves a lot on a computer. Up top, you just click off, boop, turns all that junk off. Your documents, your photos, your videos, your file system. I don't want anything accessing my file system. That's security features. No, I don't want that. Go back, close it all out. Go back to the main screen. Now, here's the other big one. I've talked about a lot of those things that were running in the background. Left click, back down on the Windows logo. Left click, back on the settings. Apps, left click. If you scroll down in your apps, you have 3D viewer, alarm clock, all these nice little fun things that they put in here. The solitaire game. If you right click, or double click on it, it'll give you a box. Give you advanced settings. On here, it'll tell you if the permission, if it's running in the background, what data it's using. You can terminate it, reset it, uninstall it. All these type of things. You can do that from there. Or, where are you? Big one I want to always take out is this Microsoft OneDrive. Back up all your data to the Microsoft Cloud. Security, 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 red flag. Boo! Talked about other clouds, other devices where people have stored stuff in, they've got hacked, people have shared photos from their secured sites and all this stuff. Be careful. If you log in with the Microsoft account that they want you to create, you're logged into this thing too. Want to point that out. I always uninstall this thing. I don't want my data being saved to the internet because of those security concerns I have. Ask you, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to remove the Microsoft software? Yes, I do. Stuff like Office, OneNote. OneNote, I've had issues with in the past. don't know if it was the computer or if it was actually the software. It was crashing and locking up, and it was telling me due to OneNote. I don't know why. I ended up having to wipe that computer out, reinstall, and the one thing I did on that computer is I removed OneNote, and all my problems went away. I think it was a software conflict with another piece of software I was running on that computer. I don't think it had anything to do with OneNote. It was an older piece of software that was being used on that computer that I believe was conflicting with memory. If I remember correctly, it was the memory locations that OneNote stored on your memory on your actual memory chips. They were both writing to the same memory locations for some weird reason. So that's one way I resolved the problem, is I took out OneNote, because I don't use OneNote. That computer was running Office. So I already have Word, Publisher, Excel, and all that stuff. I already have Windows Notepad. I already have, Windows Word in there where I can do any of that stuff anyway. I didn't need that program, so I took that out. So I want to touch on that, because that gets into the troubleshooting. Gets into a lot of things, that something in here that you might not be using at all, that you think, oh, it's okay, it's fine, I'll leave it alone, might come back to bite you. This is how you remove it. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this and not showing you how to remove it from programs, I will show you now, because they're not in programs. I hit the Windows logo on the keyboard and hit S. You want to go to Control Panel. So come up with the search. I put in the CON, comes up with Control Panel. There's other ways to get to the Control Panel, but with Windows 11 they kind of moved it, hit it, and made it a little bit harder to get to. I find this way is the easiest. And here it comes up with these little boxes. Again, them forcing the new look on you about how they want things to look. Some people like this because it's more easier. You click on this and you can go through other things, like you open up the security and then it gives you this box. And then you go through and find what you want. But if you go up here to the top where it has categories, usually I go large view, because this is easier. Because I might want to go from admin tool, because there's features in there about your startup menu and other things that I'll get into here in a little bit. And you have your programs and features in here, where you can go back and forth without going click, 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 all around all these different things, making the task longer and harder to do a simple task. So if you go into programs and you look at the programs, it shows I have one thing installed, Microsoft Edge. This is a program. With Windows 10, they came out with a thing called Apps. Apps is basically a program, but it's not a program. It's run differently. So it's not in here. So I wanted to show you this, because you might see something on there, like Microsoft OneDrive, I believe, does show up in here. But a lot of those other things that I'm going to be getting to again, I wanted to show you. They're not here. There's only that one. Again, I hope everybody can see it. I'll review this and I'll go over some of it. But when I go back to this screen, hey, look, there's Office in here. There's the OneNote. Hey, look, there's Solitaire, Microsoft Store. None of that stuff is in that other program window. So, I'll leave Solitaire on because I'm at home. I might want to play Solitaire. I'm not on my business environment, right? Home users, small business users, you might not want your person up front playing Solitaire when they should be doing work. That's how you remove it. You might catch someone playing it and wonder, hey, where'd they find that? How'd that get in there? I don't see it in this or that. This is where it's at. You can remove it. And of course, there's the great old Office. Install that app. OneNote. Goodbye, OneNote. 3D Paint, I leave it. I don't really use it that much. Sticky notes. Deal with some people that hate sticky notes. Because there's some users that use a computer and you have multiple users and they love sticky notes and they leave them all over the screen. And then the next user comes in and goes, oh, this junk's all over. You can remove it here. Of course, weather, Xbox, uninstall. Xbox Live, uninstall. Now, you might be a gamer, you might use this for gaming, you might want those features. You don't have to install them. But like I said, the only thing that I've really found that I saw that if you have a newer computer is it does some screen capturing and it does some other things that seem to be nice. There's quick keys and other things to do things through that. But for me and for everything else that we've done, don't really need that feature. At least not yet. I might need that for some future video content. Then you close that out. Now, going back to control panel. Talked about jumping back and forth. Again, Windows S, search. There it is. Click. Admin tools. Now you got to be in the admin account for this. You have system configs. This is important. I found this important. I've had to use this quite a bit for basically ransomware. I've had to do this in safe mode and a couple other places that I found this. Viruses, Trojan horses, adware, a lot of other things that this feature is important. And here you have services. In here, it tells you what the services are. In here, it tells you the manufacturer. A lot of times what I do is I sort by manufacturer and scroll down. Mostly everything in here should be Microsoft right now because it's pretty much a clean install. But later on, you'll have your antivirus, your firewall, whatever software you want will show up in here. A lot of times you'll have other stuff that shows up in here that you know you don't want, or you might not know if you want. So some of this stuff might need to be turned off in here, in your services, because it's running in the background, but it's running hidden in the background where you cannot see it. Where I went to that other apps thing where it shows you what's running in the background, it won't show up. It's running here. So that's an important thing. From that point, you go to the next tab that says Startup. And here it'll say Open Task Manager. You want to click that. And Task Manager. In here, it has your startup tab. In here it has your startup programs. I can see from here, from what I see, there's one program. Usually when you do more updates, there's more things, there's other things. This is where I've really found where you need to turn off whatever your problem is. Those screen lock ones where they come up and give you all these weird, pay this Bitcoin amount so you have access, and they turn on your camera or they do whatever, they say they're reporting you or whatever. Usually it's running here and it's running in that software, the spot that I showed you. Once you turn those off, you can turn it off, run your FireScan, your malware, adware software, whatever you have, to remove that software to figure out where it's at. Spybot is a free source one that I've used for that. The reason why I like it, because it will tell you where it's at. It might not be able to physically remove it or treat it, but it'll tell you this is located under C drive, let's say Office 19, under this file, and it's an exe. You go in there and physically delete it to kill it, to stop it from running, stop it from doing all it's going to do. But it's crucial that you do this point so you can get into the OS to remove it, to scan, to know. You got to get back into your regular mode so you can turn on all of those other scanning and protection software so that you can actually run and see where it's at. So you got to do this step. This is important because of all the ransomware and all this stuff going on, denial of service attacks and all this stuff. Denial of service attacks can actually use your computer to cause the denial of service because it's software running in the background that's communicating out to another server. If you research these things, you'll see be 10,000 computers contacting a service that causes the denial of service. Your computer could actually be part of it because something's running here. A lot of people are, oh, that don't really affect me and this and that. But, again, it's going to slow down your network. It's going to slow down your traffic. It's going to slow down. You're trying to stream a movie and it's buffering and buffering and buffering. You might have something going on in the background. So, there's another place to look. And it might be simple stuff. Maybe you installed 3 virus scans. You don't need all 3 running. You can turn some of those services off. You can do some things. You can change it. And services, how they start up, when they run, denied, if it's how you actually want that program to run. Some of these programs run at startup. You can make it so they manually run. So when you open the window, it will turn on that program and run. These are features that are really for the administrator and security person of your network in your home or whatever you want to do. It's not as cut and dry. So I wanted to elaborate that because sometimes, let's say you're paying for a good virus scan that you think is good, but then you also have a free source one out there that you like that you might want to run, but they fight with each other because you're not really supposed to have 2. So you run the one you like that you're paying for, but you install that other one, but you don't have it running. But when you want to run it, you click on it, you turn it on, you run it, go back into services, you turn it off when you're done. It's always an option. Malware scans. Maybe you want 2 different styles. Maybe you want, different things. Maybe they kind of fight with each other because they see the other one. A lot of software don't like having another of the same thing. So, wanted to point out some of these little factors. Wanted to do this walkthrough on this so people understand this. these are the biggest things that I found once you first install the operating system that can come up, because it wasn't this OS, I believe it was Windows 7, that I had a problem with the computer and I did a reinstall. Went into the reinstall, did the reinstall, got in, logged in as admin, went in, did Windows updates, because it's not on network. Did the Windows updates, and something weird was going on, and I put in my firewall that I used. It was a free source one that was out there, and it was telling me Internet Explorer is trying to access the internet. Do you wish to allow this? Internet Explorer is trying to access the internet. I didn't open Internet Explorer. So I loaded in the other piece of software I like, Spybot. Ran Spybot. Spybot came back with, you have a virus located on your D drive, and this is where it's at. Unable to treat, action needed. Oh, what? It was a clean install of Windows 7 on a brand new formatted drives. Somehow when I did the update, something got put in. Somehow or another, something got in. How? I'm not too sure. Where it came from on the network, I don't know. But there was something that needed to be remedied. It was something that with that software told me that I knew where to go get it. Take it out. Took it out, ended up reformatting, ended up reloading all the operating system, putting those software in, running those software again, came back clean, ran that updates, ran that software again, came back clean. It was really strange. Don't know where it came from. Wasn't on any of the software I had. So it was kind of a strange incident that never really repeated itself again. But it was something that kind of shocked me. And I don't think I've ever had it happen again since that time. But it's something I wanted to elaborate and put out there. Because you may do a clean install, and then, oops, something weird happened. So, just wanted to elaborate that point, because you might get shocked by some things that happen, even though you've done that install 20 times on 20 different computers, and then all of a sudden you get some weird thing happen. So, I don't know. Unless it was trapped in memory or somewhere else, but it's kind of weird that it would do that just the once, but whatever it was got taken care of, got treated, got cleaned out, got reformatted, got redone, and I moved on. Never had a problem since then. So, this is some of the things I wanted to walk through with you. Of course, make sure you do all your updates. Make sure you pull all those updates. Optional updates you may want to do, like the newest version of Windows, the newest, patches, whatever. Noticed with the newest version, it's the H1, is it 20 version. A lot of computers, once I did that version, have a lot of driver updates. Some computers have none, some have a whole lot. So it might be a factor that helps you out. Might be a factor that hurts you. Just wanted to elaborate that when you do your updates. Plus it gives you that little stupid weather box that they force on you, that then you have to go in there and do that feature to hide it if you don't like it. because then you go to highlight it, something in that area, and you click that, and then that stupid box pops up. So I wanted to elaborate on that. I think that's basically it. Of course, you have power settings you can go in and change. You have to add your printers. You have to add a lot of things that, you know, you typically have to do when you install. User accounts. Again, you can add additional accounts. Again, go back to your login stuff videos I showed you. Admin account should not be your primary account you use. You need to add your other account. You want to add a standard account that you be using. You don't want to log in every day to your admin account. So, I'm going to press that again. Go back, watch all those videos. So, I think that's all I'm going to do for this. I'm going to wrap this one up. Hope everybody can see what I've done. Hope everybody likes the content and what I've carried on to do. Again, this was the clean install of Windows 10 on a system. Pretty much the next steps after that. How to optimize it, how to turn off a lot of these things, how to get things to go back to what you're used to. You might be used to those tiles and those type of things. Maybe you want to add some of those tiles. Those tiles are kind of nice. I use them at work for, let's say you got to render ads for promotions or use something of that sort, where you go in and you make a software video with a certain piece of software. Once you make that video, then you have a primary software that's used for different hardware. Projector screen, or a TV, or a kiosk, or a sign, where they use a different formatted software. They use a different software to make the program for it to read, where you need to implement that video into it. Or you have a sign that has the video with other information around it, where you put that video in and you put, maybe it's multiple videos. Maybe you have an ad and you have your ads, and then you have another business that you're part of. If you're in a multiple business, maybe a pharmacy, you're running your pharmacy ads, you're running your drug manufacturers, you're running your insurance companies, you're running other little banners, you're running other little things on that same screen. You need that certain piece of software to load that in. So I have the one piece of software with the other piece of software, and then maybe if there's a link or that I need to use, I have them all together here together instead of going through the list. Okay, I need this one, and then scrolling down, I need this one. They're all right there where I can click them in a row. Because that's something maybe you do every month, every 3 months, every year, every 6 months. You don't do it on an everyday basis. So you don't need the icons here. You can actually put the stuff here. Let's say you're in an admin environment. Servers, big time. Servers. You have your server management, you have your SQL management, you have your Active Directory, you have all these other type of things that you might need to get into to add a user, take out a user, tweak settings, add permissions, emails, whatever you need to do. You might want to put those tile boxes on there. Control panel. If you go in there and you're doing a lot with control panel, you put those tile boxes on there. Remote connection. If you're connecting to a bunch of servers, you can put it there. Because maybe you do it, like I said, every 3 months because you're updating ads. And you got to remote into certain things to transmit the videos. You can put that with that software and you don't have to jump around and it's not all on your screen. So I found that's nice. So it's not a bad feature what I disabled when I took all those tiles off. It may be something you want to use. You use Word, Excel, Publisher, Acrobat, any of those types. Maybe you go through and you do a rough draft in Word. And then you got to make a publisher or Adobe ad for it. You have all your wording saved on one thing, but you open up your other software to do your background and your photos and all of this stuff, and then you copy your Word document onto that. You might want those two tiles next to each other because you're using them together. Because if it's alphabetical and you're going from P to W, yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but how often are you doing it? If you're doing it on a daily basis, you might want it there, you might want it here. It's really up to you how you want to do things. So that's kind of a nice feature. Again, maybe it's a monthly thing and you're just doing your monthly stuff, or every 3 months you might want to use that. So that's why I'm going through these. I don't want to say that this was a bad idea. Only thing I didn't like is that they make you have that to start with. It wouldn't be bad if there's one little box up there that says, hey, welcome to Windows walkthrough or something. But to put all that other stuff that you got to remove over and over and over and over and over again kind of gets annoying. But so I know I've gone on really, really long for this video, but again, this is the new content style I wanted to try. So I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope everybody enjoys it. Enjoys the way it is and enjoys the content. So that these things come in handy. And again, you can make shortcuts, you can put things on your desktop, you can put them in the tile box, you can put them down below, but you can also remove the stuff you don't want. You can hide the stuff you don't want. Because it makes it hard, because if you like a lot of things down here and you have a search bar and you have a people box and you have a weather little pop-up box that they have now and you have their search bar and you have that, you only got, it's all full of junk. So these are features that I wanted to show people because this is how people like to use their computer. This isn't how they want to force you to use your computer in a different way. So I wanted to go through all these things. I wanted to show you all the things that run in the background, how to enable, disable them. Key part is to show you that, because you might go through and disable them because you need to speed up your computer because it's an older computer, it's going slow because there's all kinds of things running in the background. Especially if you have the old mechanical drives. That's going to hurt you. Because remember, mechanical drives can only do one thing at a time. You saw that stuff that's all running in the background. There's a lot of programs running in the background. So something has to wait. So that's a feature. Go to the new solid state drives, they're a lot faster. This one has a solid state drive in it. As you can see, I'm sure you can see the logos on the front. It's an older computer. It's not a new fancy one. You see how it operates. You can see how I click. This is one of the things that why I wanted to do this kind of a content, so you can actually see the speed. The one thing that always amazes me the most with the solid state drives is how fast they load. M.2 are even faster. This computer's slow. This is not the more modern This is not the more modern M.2. This is not the more modern SATA. I believe this is the SATA 2. I don't believe it's SATA 1. I believe it's SATA 2. I'll have to look at the specs. It's not the SATA 3. SATA 3 is a lot faster. So you'll see a difference. So these are some of the little factors I wanted to bring up. There's a difference in your computers. You can see, like I said, it's not a brand new computer. It's an older computer. This is what's actually being run. So for the end of this video, I want to power it down so everybody realizes that this is what's being used. Because, again, goes back to the whole story facts again. People tell you certain things, but then is it what they're doing? Power's off, power's off. So, for that, I think I'll wrap up this video. Oh man. Wanted to show a lot of things. Go through a lot of information. Hopefully this helps a lot of people. Especially if you have all this stuff down here on the bottom that drives you crazy like it drives me crazy. That's how you can hide it, get rid of it. The new Windows update that gives you another box over here. You can hide it, get rid of it, turn it off. Because odds are, if you've been using that computer for a while, you already have your places you go to check your weather. You already have places to go check your sports scores. You already have places to check your stocks. You already have places that you go to pull that information that you've used for years. Maybe that's something that you can use that makes life easier for you. But again, this is your option to use it or not use it. This is your option to get it off your screen, to hide it, turn it off, do what you want. Maybe you decide, hey, this is totally stupid, I don't want this, why did they do this? And then 6 months from now, you go, you know what, been thinking about it, that was kind of cool to have all these things all in one location. Go back, turn it back on, and you start using it. Same place where you turned it off, same place you turn it on. You hide it, unhide it, turn it on, turn it off. So, that's the key point. You're not removing it when you turn it off or you hide it. Most of those apps that you remove, you can go to the Microsoft Store, sign in with an account, download those free things anyways. Sometimes there's other ones that are better than what they have. Sometimes there's other things out there. So, wanted to touch on a lot of that. I know this video is really long, but I wanted to do this video to show this part. And again, welcome to the second year of Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. So, time to mix it up, trying to make some more content with other ways to show you what's out there. Actual showing you what's there. Especially for the OS, it's hard to just talk about it. Because you really have to see what it is. Because when you say click on the Windows logo, what is the Windows logo? Is it the one that says Windows? Is it the little boxes? Depending on what version it is and how it is, Windows 11, I believe the logo is going to be different from what I'm seeing in the roughs. So a lot of these things are different. Windows 7 was different. Windows 8 was different. Windows 8.1 is different. So if you've upgraded from them, you're going to have a little issues. Especially if you're used to the old ways. Especially now that those are out of life. Or running out of life on those operating systems. And you are forced to upgrade to make sure you're following all the best security, go back and watch those videos. Following all the best practices, go back and watch those videos. All of those type of things. I have a whole year's worth of videos that are crucially important to all of this. So, I want to thank everybody again, and I think I'm just going to wrap it, and hopefully people like this content. I'll figure out what I'm going to do next and try another one. Alrighty. Thank you.